Great to have you in. Thanks for joining us on this second weekend back in the studio, and it feels good. My guest thinks he's the first guy back in the studio, so he's all disappointed. He brought me a couple cigars. He brought me a bottle of wine. He's trying to wine and dine the host. He doesn't have to do that. He knows I'm not going to buy his act anyway, so I just welcome into Karl Wadensten, who is, you know, one of the more extraordinary citizens that we have in this state. He is still hanging around the economic environment as a member of the board of the Commerce Corporation, formerly the Economic Development Corporation, and the owner of VIBCO Vibrators, and provides a really benevolent role, I think, in the community. How many hundreds, if not thousands, of people have you had through your factory?
9,000
in Wyoming, Rhode Island, by the way, right?
9,000.
9,000.
9,000.
Where you show them, where you talk to them about efficiency, about how to do things well. The concept is
lean, Toyota
lean
production systems, right?
Yeah. So you've done a lot of those things. You also had a flirt for, what was it, 18 hours with Lieutenant Governor to run for that.
Yeah, I think I was interviewing with you.
Were you drunk at the time, or no?
I don't drink.
I know.
Yeah, can you imagine if I drank?
Anyway, it is a pleasure to have you aboard. We are saying some of our video production tonight, and I wanted to be able to show Karl some things that Speaker Sikarchi said on last week's show regarding the PPP taxation issue with the Rhode Island Manufacturers Association, another organization because of his role with VIBCO that Karl is instrumentally involved in. And if we're going to be truthful about it, you were a little bit of a rabble-rouser on this one.
Yeah.
I think a diplomatic rabble-rouser, but you, my friend Johnny White from TACO, and others were trying to express a point of view that you thought that the small percentage of businesses that were going to get hit with taxation in the COVID loan world here with the PPP programs were being unfairly treated. So let's wind back and talk about that. And then you've got an interesting conversation you want to have with me about how local towns, especially yours,
Richmond,
are dealing with this marijuana issue, right?
Correct.
You have concerns about that.
Yeah.
So this is, by the way, this is a casual shoot the, you know what, in the summertime conversation with my friend Karl Wadensten. Let's talk about the PPP. The whole program, for those who haven't been following this, and I doubt there are many, the federal government, in order to be able to secure this economy, you know, threw a boatload of money into every state's coffers for the distribution of what was called the Payroll Protection Plan. It was actually, run through the SBA, the federal government, and local banks, and it was a quick and dirty way to get money in, and there was an 80% requirement to apply it to your current payroll. And then any other, office expenses that come down the line. And depending on whether you were a small mom and pop barbershop where you might have asked for $25,000 to keep yourself afloat during COVID because the doors were all shut, or you were a substantial company like yours, or even a larger company than yours, it could have been $2 million, $4 million, $5 million, $10 million, as long as you could call it payroll. Well, the Trump administration went through this kind of renaissance, if you will, at the very end of its term, suggesting that while the loans, if protocols were properly followed, would turn into grants, meaning they didn't have to be paid back, and that they will also not be taxable, flipped that for state options, giving the states options to be able to go ahead and tax. And of course, Rhode Island has a little bit of a challenge because we follow the federal taxation program, and so there had to be special legislation written to be able to tax that money. Gina Raimondo had a plan to apply the current tax rates to that money, but then she split. Dan McKee, the new governor, said, you know what, I need to protect local businesses, so I'm going to exempt the first $150,000 that you may have borrowed from any taxation. Anything above that would be called a revenue stream and added into your P&L. If you still lost money, you wouldn't pay taxes, but if that helped you if it helped your bottom line, you'd pay the appropriate rate. Ironically, as you guys started to yell about this to the Rhode Island Manufacturers Association, saying, "Wait, so that's not fair. We're not prepared for this," and it's not what was promised, and maybe we wouldn't take the money if we thought it was going to be taxed, yada, yada, yada. The Speaker and the Senate President actually, I kind of suggested that they kind of got one over on the governor. They actually increased, while they were hiding in the corner and McKee was taking all the heat, they increased the threshold to $250,000, so so $250,000 of loans were exempt from the taxation. And that's where they wrote the law into the budget. And you guys were kicking and screaming the entire way, and it didn't come out your way. What the Speaker did do, I know this is long-winded, but I want to make sure that you understand how this goes and let Karl have the floor. What happened was, and what the Speaker talked about last week, was he understood the timing issue, so he eliminated interest and penalties. It gave I think a 15-month timetable to pay, meaning and spread the term, to make the burden easier. And both the governor and the legislature would suggest that only 7% of businesses in the state are going to have to even deal with taxes based on the $250,000 threshold. Whew. Having said all that, that is what the deal is. Tell me, after your diplomatic argument about this, how you feel about being on the losing end of the argument.
Well,
and by the way, if you think I didn't represent you that correctly.
But I think that the unknown, the PPP helped us as businesses to keep employees employed. There was an unknown, where was happening with COVID, where we were going to have businesses at the end. And the state's unknown going into the new budget, right, with the crossover from Gina Raimondo to Dan McKee, and all of a sudden there were surpluses. Remember, there were surpluses as well in the budget. That all of a sudden we went from a negative number, which was projected prior to this, to coming out 300, 400 million or whatever it was, and then we have some additional CARES Act money coming out, right? So manufacturers and the people, and it's not just manufacturers, it's employers. You know, I represent the manufacturing piece. You know, we were just kind of taking a pause and saying, okay, we're going to have a budget surplus, and they still want to tax and get more revenue into the coffers, right? That was one thing. And, you know, we wanted to voice our opinions because on the backside of this, COVID still really isn't over. If you look at the news of what's happening in the U.S. and the globe, that there are still areas with the Delta variant that are really wreaking havoc on this, right? So where are we on the backside? The state wants to get employees back to work, right? The employers of the state of Rhode Island are going to do this. So now we have an unforeseen liability of whatever the percentage is, because now the accountants have to do it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think that and I know the governor heard the voice, and he's always been an advocate for businesses in Rhode Island. And I think the Speaker heard that businesses in Rhode Island shape Rhode Island who it is. And we don't want to take a back seat in this. We want to be participative in the growth of Rhode Island. And yeah, we kind of lost, but we got our voices heard. They bumped it up a little bit. And I think that the Speaker, you know, has really the reins of what they're going to legislate, that hopefully can legislate some great offsets, because they want to raise minimum wages. They want to do all kinds of social activities with businesses. Well, a robust economy helps do those things quicker.
Well, the minimum wage thing is already in the book. I mean, this
it's in the book.
You got a graduated growth to $15. We've been arguing about $15 for so long. $15 is going to be obsolete anyway.
Yeah, it's done. It's
so.
done. We've been doing.
I wish they would take on Senator Raptakis' idea, which is just to index the doggone thing once and for all and never have a conversation about it. But politicians love to argue that they're getting the minimum wage increased every single year because they think it inures to their reelectability, and that's all part of that whole
I think situation. The new world of employers, Dan, is that supply and demand of people. You're going to have to raise your wages no matter what to retain really good people. And you're going to have to be competitive. It's a competitive marketplace.
One thing I said to Joe Shekarchi last week that I think is something that is still a jury out worry for me, and I know for you, and that is, regardless of the mechanics of what $30 million ended up being in the budget for a tax against 7% of the businesses who got over $250,000 and who were profitable during COVID. The headline remains that Massachusetts and Connecticut bailed.
Correct.
Meaning the governors heard guys like you in their own respective states and said, all right, you know what, it's penny wise and pound foolish. It's not worth the battle. The headline and the reputation that we taxed that business. I worry about big business that looks to come into Rhode Island from time to time, that looks at the headlines, does a Google search, and sees that Rhode Island taxed PPP at all.
And
Are you worried about that?
Yeah, I think you and I would talk on the radio about that, that it boils down to, with all the years on the Rhode Island Commerce Board and EDC, it tarnishes our reputation. People want a climate that they feel the government or the state legislature and the Senate and the governor support businesses to grow. And this is just kind of a ding. We don't need any more dings here. We've had enough dings in this state.
All right. But going forward,
Yes.
since we're on the business conversation, then I want to talk to you about your concern. You feel good about things going forward right now? Your business in general, your view from the Commerce Board?
I think that business is very fragile right now because supply
chains are problematic.
Supply chains are
I got a set of golf clubs on order, no kidding. I buy them once every 10 years.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be here 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They're not here.
No.
I keep calling the guy going, when are they coming? I don't know. They're on back order.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming. Yeah. Well, you know, my game's not getting any better. They're not. What's going on?
And that's the sad part, Dan.
I got a buddy who's got a bathroom renovation going on.
Oh, okay. He probably has a porta-john outside.
He's been 6 months status quo waiting for the tub to come in.
Yeah.
From Canada.
Yeah.
It's coming. When? It's in customs. Why? I mean, all that.
Well, you know, the border crossing, we have a facility in Canada. The border crossing is just a mess. It's just a total mess. But the scary thing is that the U.S. economy has this big propensity to spend right now because we've lifted most of the restrictions, and we can't even get the goods that we want.
Right.
People are there with money, waving money, and saying, just get me the golf clubs, just get me the tub, you know? And
Or just
that's
give me the
sad.
vibrator.
Or get me the vibrator.
Yeah, you know, those will be manufacturing vibrators to you.
Not the sexy brand.
When we come back, he's got a concern about stuff in local towns marijuana. Stay with us. The Speaker of the House was quoted as saying he doesn't mind if we're the last state in the country to actually legalize marijuana, which I think is an interesting take in terms of the urgency. I'm talking about the recreational marijuana. This headline in The Sun from South County: Richmond Board mulls zoning changes for medical marijuana retailers. And we've got a whole different mosaic there. I mean, we've got those who can cultivate and sell. We've got those who can only sell. This thing has been kind of quietly widely throughout this entire last couple of years. Your company's in Richmond.
Correct.
You're concerned about let's not clean the Richmond elected officials' clocks necessarily, but tell me what's going on there, because if it's a problem in one town, it's going to be a problem in another.
Yeah.
What is it that you're concerned about?
So Richmond, at least in their wisdom, they had a council meeting and a discussion about retailing in Richmond, right? Because there are two different things. You can cultivate and retail, and you can retail. So there's three different paths.
Right
here.
now, just medically.
Medically, correct.
Right.
Correct.
Wink, wink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. And so Richmond, at least in their wisdom, decided not to allow retail business in the city, or in the town, right? But they still have kind of archaic zoning rules on the growing. We already have one grower in the town, and they have potentially another grower. But where do you put these people? How do you keep these people in a place that's safe for them and for the community? Because I've sent you a bunch of articles from Colorado, California, all these different states, that you have an issue with odor, you have an issue with water consumption, you have an issue with safety, you have an issue with property values of this. Because as you get cultivators, where are the right places for them? And this is so new, this industry, right? This whole industry is just blowing up right in front of us, and it's coming. We all know that. But how do we maintain the kind of business communities and the areas where businesses grow and flourish? And then how do you get this new type of cultivation business into areas where they don't impede on communities? And we're a rural community, so when they say an industrial area, there are houses right on the property lines. There are all kinds of things going on. So Richmond hasn't caught up yet with their zoning about how do we bring in other growers. So my bone of contention is trying to work with the town to say, okay, how do we do this responsibly and have a strategy for this so we don't impede growth of other businesses? And remember, you add a retailer, you add a grower, it doesn't add a lot of revenue to the city or the town. It adds to the state coffers. So if you have a retail organization, you're going to tax the police force tremendously for that, and all the extra revenue goes to the state.
Well, look, I've read some of the stuff in Richmond and others, and again, those who grow and sell wholesale, those who grow and sell retail, and those who just do retail have to be viewed as three different kinds of entities.
100%. 100%.
So part of the discussion is that if we're getting accustomed to the concept that marijuana is a medically acceptable drug, not unlike the prescription that the doctor orders for me for my aches and pains, or whatever bug I might come up with, I'm talking hypothetically here, I pull up at the pharmacy or a drive-through, I pull into a parking spot, I pick it up and I leave. Recreation, meaning it's CVS, Walgreens in nature.
Right.
I don't see what the big thing is. If you've got ample parking spaces for the number of people that you expect to be, interacting with your business, picking up their product or their prescription, what's the big problem? I'm asking you, what's the big problem?
I think
what's the difference between a medical marijuana retail facility going in and a new CVS?
I think that Pawtucket has done a really good job of this in their zoning, and they were way ahead of the game, and Cumberland as well, the governor's former town, is that they look at this as a controlled substance, federally controlled substance, and I think it's the
more as a liquor store than a drug.
Yeah, more as they looked at it as a liquor store, because liquor stores have ample parking. People move in and out, and no one's thinking twice about me buying a case of beer once a month. Right. So what is the thing? Well, the thing is that, Dan, for recreational use or growers in an industrial area, and there's only a few industrial areas, and we have small space for this, is that with the community that we have and the business owners in Richmond that I've gotten, we have D'Ambra owns big facilities there. We have the Perlmans with Job Lot. We have Cheraho Furniture and a bunch of other businesses, is that we're really concerned with it being in our community from the odor. The odor can be tremendous, right? And there's no federal regulations.
Big difference between a pot cultivator and a coffee maker.
A big difference.
You drive down 295 in Lincoln on a summer night at 7 o'clock, and you get the coffee aroma from the manufacturer there, and it is, I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I think it's the most incredible thing in the world. It's just,
And Route 95 in Connecticut was Wonder Bread was on.
Right. Awesome.
And it's like, where's my loaf of bread? Where's my cup of coffee?
Let me be honest with you. Carl brought a couple of these for me, not bad either. But you're saying, pot stinks.
Oh, and it's a tremendous amount of money for the mitigation of that kind of smell in the air. Tremendous amount of money and upkeep. And there are really no federal or state regulations on odor. Yes, they have odor regulations that are very subjective in their tone, but it's not something that we want to see. And they don't employ a ton of people. The cultivators. If you're a really good cultivator, you need to automate the hell out of the thing. There aren't people there watching these things grow.
All right, so what is the bottom line on this?
The bottom line
when
is,
we come back, because
right.
I can't wait for the bottom line.
All right, bottom line.
So here we have another Science Daily headline talking about the emissions from cannabis facilities. Air quality may be impacted, never mind quality of life, and those two things sometimes are the same, sometimes they're different. And while air quality may not be EPA level poison, certainly if you're smelling dope all day long, it's something that can that can really bother you. We only got a couple of minutes here. Are you speaking to me about this as a citizen, as a business owner, as a player in Richmond, as a member of the Commerce Corporation, all of the above?
All of the above, and I'm really urging and trying to work collaboratively with the town council to give them the best and brightest of thoughts and concerns.
So give me the 60-second close. What do you want done in the contemplation of the growth of this industry?
That they really should have a strategic plan of what they want Richmond to be and how they want to support the existing community there, and how do we work, how do we survive together.
But not just Richmond, right? I mean,
that's the whole state. It's the 39 cities and towns.
As Richmond goes, so goes every community in this situation.
And I urge the Speaker and the Governor, I think the Governor has put kind of a halt on this, so I really urge these guys for this special session or whatever they have going on to look at it from DBR, who are the players, what cities and towns, and we're so small, Dan, that I think the state should really help out on this, because the small cities and towns are outgunned with how quickly this is growing and how it can go sideways on them.
Well, you know, the whole thing has always been that there's so much central control from Smith Hill about how towns and cities operate. So I'm always looking for the cities and towns to have some level of entrepreneurial ability, right?
But Dan, this
one though,
yes,
may be a one fell swoop, more diligence need. Is that what you're saying?
100%. And we want to invest, the people that are going to do this in our state, we want to invest in the best and brightest. Rhode Island's always lagging behind. So let's invest in the best and brightest. Let's get an operating premise and let's cohabitate together.
Well, speaking
and do the
of,
thing.
you trigger something. I only have 30 seconds here. Best and brightest also include the people who are investing in these businesses.
Correct.
Because, I mean, these aren't potheads.
No.
Necessarily.
So millions and millions of dollars.
These are finely tuned executives and investors who are seeing the opportunity here,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
and to your point as well, Rhode Island doesn't have a great business climate, so what's the business climate going to look for these people?
Gotcha.
Got it.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Final word when we come back. We have another place the state needs to provide guidance to local communities: critical race theory. The conversation is heating up. It'll be the subject of our conversation next weekend. We'll talk to you on the radio weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRO as well. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.